I'm Bob Newitt, born 1965.
And how long did you live in Dundas?
All my life till 1998, I moved to Ancaster.
So what got you interested in finding out about this story? Like, what was the first piece that kind of...
The wagon, there's a wagon that has a date on it, Newitt's Meats, since 1850, and I wanted to know, where does it say 1850? How do we know? So that was my quest, and along the way I picked up a lot more information.
You told me a story about your dad offering you the business when you were
young. He retired in 76, and I was 10, 11, and he asked me, do you want to run? Do you want me to keep the store and you run it? And I was 10 or 11. Nah.
So out of all the photos that you've kind of collected from this, is the first one the one that kind of has the biggest memory for you? Like, just because it got you into it? Like, I know it's not a memory of yours, but or is there one that kind of really stands out to you?
Well, the wagon, the one that was put me through the quest actually was up in, I remember seeing the wagon in Pioneer Village up in Flamborough there when I was in grade school, and so I contacted them to see if it was still there, and sure enough, it was still in the same building when I saw it, and the guy dug it out and everything, and we were able to take photos, so it was still up there. And actually, I got the original photo of it before it was donated up there.
And sorry, so who was your father? What was his name?
His name was Ed.
He was Ed, and Whit was his brother.
My uncle, yeah.
What were they like as people, as characters?
Whit was 5 years older. He was a little more hard, and my dad was more of a soft guy. That's all I can tell you.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions just about...
Absolutely, absolutely.
Perfect. What's your earliest childhood memory?
Geez. We lived on Alma Street, and it was a big hill, and it may not be the earliest, but I have a younger brother, Dave, and he was in, we had him in a buggy. My brother, 2 years older than me, Brian, and I took him down to the park. And looking back, that was a pretty steep hill for two young guys to be pushing them down. But 3 came back, so.
So which area of Dundas did you go?
North by the quarry, Sydenham and Alma.
Did you notice any differences, like living in your area versus the other areas of town?
Yeah, York Road people were different, and Governor's Road wasn't really developed at that time. Really, it seemed so far away, a bigger town back when you're younger. I remember when grade 7s were transferred over from another school. You know, I didn't recognize half of them, but they're in the same town, you know.
Is there any stores that you frequented that you can remember, like any stores in the downtown core?
Oh yeah, there was the Dairy Bar, which was, I think it's Winchester Arms now. Pinder's, it's the animal hospital now. And Jack Pinder, that was next door to my dad's store. We used to go into there too. Later on, we used to go down the Owl's Roost. That's about it, I guess.
Were you around for the train station?
Yep.
Do you remember?
Absolutely. Because we lived so close to the train tracks, the quarry, the train tracks was the playground, and there used to be Canada crushed stone buildings. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Just a dilapidated quarry building on the escarpment we used to play in, and the old train station used to have a telephone in there, and you'd pick up the telephone and you could ask, when's the next train going by? And we were pretty young, and I picked up and I asked, and the lady on the other end said, "You're not playing in there, are you?"
So it was basically kind of unsupervised.
It was unsupervised, yeah, exactly.
That's kind of like a metaphor for the town, almost, right? Like it's small, but it's just like, yeah, you guys can stay in this area. So which elementary school did you go to?
I went to Central Public here.
Did you like school at all?
Not particularly. I do recall the first day of kindergarten. I either ran out, ran home. My mom made my dad take me because she knew there was going to be some issues.
Did you have any teachers throughout your school career that you liked or didn't like? Anyone who you remember?
I probably remember them all, but none from Central that stuck out. Yeah.
So, and which high school did you go to?
Parkside.
Parkside. Do you have any teachers from there that?
Yeah, Mr. Foote, phys ed, Mr. Tuck, Mr. Fergal. What's the other guy's name? Forget him. I guess he's not. It seems so long ago though now. It's 30 years, so I can't remember.
Were you a part of any organized things in high school?
In school, football, wrestling, the Universal Gym.
Universal Gym?
Yeah, you know, the weights and all
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Was that kind of more your circle of friends when you were in high school?
No. Football, maybe not. No, I can't say that. No, I do hang out with a lot of them from high school, but they were, they weren't affiliated with any of that. It was, I think, more after school we kind of started hanging around and whatnot. But I still see them to this day, so yeah, we call it the group.
What types of things would you guys do after school?
After school? Like I said, we didn't hang out then. Really nothing, honestly. Like I walk home. The neighbors, we would play football once in a while or hockey down at the school. But yeah, nothing that I can think of. Yeah. I had two brothers around my age too, and that was like having your friends too, you know, we did a lot together. So that passed the time.
Any stories of you and your brothers getting into trouble that you would care to?
We used to do a lot of school roof climbing. We used to look for tennis balls, and the school roof would have a lot of tennis balls, and of course it'd be in the dark. And a couple times there were spotlights looking for whoever's up there, but we got a lot of tennis balls.
What was your first job?
My first job that actually made money, or I worked a couple days at a store up at the cottage, but that was like 2 days. But my first job actually, I worked in a slaughterhouse. It was Fearman's. Worked there for 13 years. So in a way, I carried on the tradition that way, but nothing to the extent that my father and others did.
What's your favorite place in Dundas?
Favorite place in Dundas? As I grew up, my brother and I bought a house on Victoria Street, and we used to have a dog, and we used to walk him all the time up the escarpment. It was so close. But the Dundas Peak was a good spot to just overlook the town and gather your thoughts.
Is there a person from Dundas that has always kind of stood out to you?
Used to see Mr. Rayner all the time. He was a teacher at Central, a science and history teacher, and he lived on Witherspoon. And as far as I can remember, he owned this same car, a Grand Prix, and you always knew it was him driving by.
What types of changes have you really noticed in the town over the years?
Stop signs, actually, they're in every corner. But the size of the town, the different areas now, opposed to back then, it was a little more confined. Downtown seems to be the same. That's about it.
What do you think makes Dundas unique?
I think Dundas is unique in that I can come down to Dundas and see somebody I've known or went to school with all the time, and it kind of brings back memories, and it kind of, nobody really fleds or flees the town. I don't know how to word that, but you can cut that part out.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like roots here.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people, even if they haven't stayed, they always like keep a connection
Yeah.
here or come back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any memories around the driving park that you can think of?
Yeah. Actually, there's a big rock in the entrance of the park there, and it was. I always wonder if anybody knows where that rock came from, but I know it came from Ida George's farm up in Flamborough, and I only know that because Ida George was my dad's mother's sister.
Did you have any thoughts on the amalgamation when that happened?
Absolutely, I wasn't for it at all. I remember the bumper sticker, Dundas Forever, and still to this day it was a bad mistake. And I live in Ancaster now, we're in it, the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible mistake.
Do you ever think there's a chance that it'll ever go back, or?
I don't think it'll ever happen. I wish it would, even to the expense it would. I think small towns could look after themselves quite well. And, just looking at the response time for like the police and all that, when we had our own police department, you knew them and they knew you, which, not saying I'd go that far, but I think we could look after ourselves a lot better.
Do you think it had any positive effects, or did you notice any positive effects?
No, they said that we'd save a lot of money, less people, but it never happened. Taxes gone up. Nothing good about it. Nothing.
That seems to be the general consensus of any of the surveys.
Exactly.
I came from a small town.
Yeah, nothing good about it at all. I could tell you, we were building an addition on Victoria Street, and this was probably 1990, and we were in a variance, so we had to appeal, and had to go to the town hall here, and when my dad came with me, and when the counselor saw my dad, my file went right to the top of the pile, and out the door we were that fast. So, that had some positives too, knowing the counselors. And
was there a first major local news event that you can recall ever hearing about or seeing, even through voice or radio, television?
About Dundas?
Or local, just like the first kind of news.
Well, you know, I do remember seeing on TV, and they called them guerrillas attacked, and I remember thinking, guerrillas? I didn't know what a gorilla was besides an ape. So I was kind of surprised.
That's hilarious. Probably most kids.
Gorillas?
Trying to think back, like, yeah, I feel like it's about guerrilla warfare. I was like, really?
Really?
What do you have? What's one of the happiest moments of your life that you can recall? One of them. It doesn't have to be but just one that maybe.
In Dundas or just ever? No, well, Christmases we gathered up my grandmother's house in Paris, and it was like my mom's side, us, her. It was her mom, so it was my uncle and my aunt and some cousins. Those were good times. You know, a lot of people, a lot of food, and I think when Grandma and Grandpa passed, it stopped. And so those are good memories. You know, Christmases back then. Had a pool table and whatnot. So that was good. That was a long day.
What words of advice would you pass on to future generations?
Save your money. I'm a big saver, and I honestly don't know how people can do it nowadays with the prices, the way things are, like from school to weddings to homes. I bought a house for $190, and I thought that was a lot, so I can't imagine $400 or whatever.
Is there anything you would like to add? The totem pole you mentioned?
Yeah, there in Central School, there used to be a totem pole up one of the stairwells, and I do recall it had something to do with Shadow Golf Course too, and I wonder where it went, and does anybody else know anything about that? And was there something else I said? No.
I feel like there was one.
There was, yeah. Yeah, I forget that one. Oh, the Cannon Hill.
There we go.
Does anybody call it the Cannon Hill anymore? I grew up and it was always called the Cannon Hill. I didn't realize it actually had a name, Albert Street, until I was probably a teenager.
Where did you hear Cannon Hill first?
Well, Cannon Hill used to be somebody on Cross Street back in the day would drag a cannon up to Cannon Hill and fire it off the hill, and they called it the Cannon Hill.
Yeah, I think.
Excellent.
I think you're good. You can feel safe. You can.
Yeah.